Ask a tranny. Ask a tranny. Ask a tranny. So yeah, I put a lot of effort in tonight's intro. Hope you guys like that. Welcome to the Approximate Podcast. My name's Jamie French, and you are listening to another live streaming episode of Ask a Tranny, the questions and answers show that we are officially going to start, well, not start, but continue doing on Fridays at around 8 p.m. Central Time. I put a little poll up on the all the social media asking when was the best time for us to start doing this show. I put Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Mondays, we record the official pre-recorded Approximate Podcast, but for all these little sub-shows that we're trying to incorporate, I wanted to find a really good time. It was a resounding Friday. So last week we had I don't know. It was slow. It was slow, and people didn't send in their questions and comments. And yeah, we had to kill a bunch of time. And towards the end of the hour, it picked up a little bit. It got weird, but you know, you soldier through it, and we did. Now we do actually have some questions and comments and things that people have been sending through our email. That's approximatepodcast.com at gmail.com. Or I'm sorry, I said that all wrong. It's approximatepodcast@gmail.com. You send your questions there, and then we keep them in this pile and address them on the show. And the burner line, which is 817-673-3704. We have a couple of questions and comments there. And at any time during the show, you can absolutely text or email us, and we will get to you as soon as we can. I say we, it's just me tonight. I don't think anybody else is stopping by. But again, this show's called Ask a Tranny, and I'm providing you with one tranny. Let's let the room populate a little bit, because we do get a lot of our questions from the chat room, and I'll address you guys in the chat room in just a bit. But let's let the room populate while I'll kill a little time. So what's the big to-do? Today, I walked/jogged 10 frickin' miles. 10 goddamn miles. It's been a long time since I've even done anything that resembled working out, but it's time to start shooting content again for the adult stuff that I do, and not completely happy with my physique, and I've been struggling to get myself out of bed to, you know, slim down just a little bit, you know, 5 pounds. 5 pounds would do it. 5 pounds would look good on camera. So I got out of bed. I was in a rare mood, put on my little jogging uniform, and set out onto the mean streets of Arlington, Texas. And I lost track of time, and I walked probably too far. With no water or anything in this hot, muggy Texas weather. Yeah, had to like kind of wind my way to the grocery store, pick up something to drink, and like take a lift back home. So walking around killed most of my day today. For those who've been keeping up with the shows, they know, you guys know that I'm trying to like wean my way off of drinking too much, but in the spirit of trying to cut down on my weight, I've been drinking a lot of wine, and you know, that shit adds up. There's a nice healthy amount of calories in just wine. So what I did was something I probably shouldn't have done. Just to loosen up the nerves, I went and I bought, well, just give me a second, I'll show you. Bottom level brown fucking bourbon, which sucks. I know. I didn't want to go back to it, but also it gets you there quick, and it gets you there without adding on any additional unnecessary calories. So I'm just going to be sipping on this a little bit tonight. Not too much. I don't want to get sloppy for y'all. And I don't even, like, it's got so bad when I was heavily drinking the brown bourbon that I actually threw away all my shot glasses. So what I'm doing tonight is I'm drinking out of it's a 30 milliliter, it's fucking from a thing of Pepto-Bismol. I'm drinking out of a medicine cup. And I looked up just how much an actual shot is. A jigger of alcohol is the official measurement. But basically a shot. And it's like, I think in America, it's like 47 milliliters. So I'm actually taking less than a real shot, and that kind of helps. And it's nasty, awful stuff. Like I said, this is jet fuel. This was for a gallon of it or whatever it is. It was about, I don't know, like fucking $11. So it's not good stuff. But again, it gets me there because it's 40 proof. So that was my day today. I'm going to take this shot down. I'm going to address the chat room and start responding to some of the live stream stuff that you guys are throwing my way before we get to some of the pre-written stuff. Let's see if we can kill an hour here and hopefully do a better show than the disaster that was last week's show. Okay, so let me scroll through here, get into the chat room, and see what people are saying. Give me just a second while I read these. I'm just going to start reading these one at a time because I want to get to everybody. I want it to be a fair show. Let's see. So we got Salacious Shauna. Salacious Shauna says, I ended up driving back from Denton and went almost by your place a couple days ago. Hee hee. Oh, well, shit. You know, if that ever happens, if you're ever in the area, just fucking let me know. Mi casa, su casa. It's always a treat to meet fans, and even better if fans can eventually become friends. That's always a good deal. So just let me know next time you come through town. Door's always open. Let's see here. Let's see what Blue Jay of Evil. Hey, from last week. So Blue Jay, you remember last week's show. What a disaster that was. Let me see what you have to say. Blue Jay of Evil says, glad to see you're taking physical health seriously. Only so far as it benefits my vanity. Yeah, so don't get ahead of yourself there. I'm a shitty person. Let's see here. Blue Jay of Evil also, are you on the 1433 sheet yet? LOL. Okay, this is another, it's turning into an inside joke from last week's episode. There's this whole 1433 thing that was thrown at us last week. We still have no idea what it means. We still don't care to know what it means. But it looks like some politically minded kind of aggro kids tried to throw some that weird conspiracy information at us and wanted us to respond in kind. And this is just not, this show is just not made up of those kind of people. So we're taking the easy way out and just using this as an excuse to goof on you for the sake of comedy. So if you're offended, then we're probably doing something right. Let's see what else we got here. Salacious Shauna says, no more approximate cocktail. Not true. It's just going to be for special occasions. You know, it's not verboten or anything like that. It's just that I just gotta take it back a notch. That's all. So where I used to just drink that shit all the time off the air, now it's pretty much going to be just for on the air. But I didn't want to buy the ingredients for it this week because I didn't want the temptation. You know, it's a lesser of two evils kind of thing. But it will make its appearance again on the show, and pretty much just on the show. I did a really cool, I was a guest on another podcast, the Bumming with Bobcat podcast. You go on to Twitter, and you find the guy. It's at underscore or at space. You can find him on my deal. Bumwine at underscore or at space Bumwine. And check out that dude's podcast. It's all about drinking. And it was a really good episode. And you'll find it. It's just my Twitter, both of the Twitters, my personal Twitter and the Approximate Podcast Twitter, is just littered with that recording. There's a video format of it and just an audio format of it. Check it out. It was a really fun, great show where we talk about the approximate cocktail. So check that out and support that dude because he was a really cool guy and it was a really fun show. So let me keep going down the list here. Man, it is getting hard and heavy. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay, so I got one from, Blue Jay of Evil says, hashtag water is life. Absolutely. I mean, I'm holding a shot in my hand, but Orion, my normal co-host for the official, like the flagship show, the Monday show, he has turned me on to these, there's a tea mix that he really likes. So I've been downing it for fucking weeks now, ever since he brought it to my attention. But it's like a Nest tea mix of some sort, but it's raspberry flavored, it's sweet, and it's just a little tiny package of powder, but it makes water palatable. And I'm not one of these people that hates my city's water. I think we have pretty good tasting water, but this really does make you shove it down your fucking skull, and I like it. It's great. It keeps me drinking water. So that's my actual chaser for the really shitty. What is this? It's called Benchmark. I doubt we're going to get a sponsorship out of these people, but this is the awful crap that I'm drinking. And yeah, it's going to require some form of water to shove it down my gullet. So yeah, you're right. Hashtag water is life. It absolutely is. I fucked up and I should have had it on my fucking 10-mile walk. That's not me bragging. That's my stupidity. I just didn't keep track of where the fuck I was going, and it wound up being 10 miles. I thought I was going to walk about 30, 45 minutes. No, it took me about 3 hours because I'm an idiot. And I was listening to podcasts, so the time just flew by. Anyway, so let me see what else. We got Brett Wendell says, opinions on these bands, Pixies, the Gourds, and Jonathan Richman. Not mixed up in a bucket, but individually. Okay, the only one, seriously, forgive my ignorance, the only one I can really speak to is the Pixies. Love the Pixies. I just haven't heard of the other two bands or artists that you're talking about. But I'm a fucking huge fan of the Pixies and a huge fan of Frank Black. There's a fair amount of collaboration between Frank Black and my favorite band, which is They Might Be Giants. And just on the Pixies on their own, huge fan. And then knowing that like two heroes, They Might Be Giants and Frank Black from the Pixies, work together and put out some really amazing stuff from time to time. Yeah, it's just really, really nice. There's always a kind of golden thread between, it just seems to me in my 37 years of living that there's usually a pattern. There's usually, unless you're like retardedly diverse, if you have a particular, which most people do, they have a particular flavor, a particular way that their brain is shaped where it makes you like certain bands. And it's always a treat to find that those bands interact in a certain way. Even if you think they probably wouldn't, if you dig deep enough, you find that like-minded people, that fit your taste, somehow seem to find a way to work together. And the Kevin Bacon scale of 6 degrees of separation is very, very narrow when you have a particular flavor of heroes. And so it's always nice to see those kind of artists and bands work together. So yeah, love the Pixies. Fucking love the Pixies. Who can deny them? I will have to do research on the other 2 names that you mentioned, and I will do so and address you maybe next week. Let's see here. So we're cruising down the list. Let's see. Blue Jay of Evil says, FYI, the First Irregulars made a remix of our convo from last week. Again, you know what? I'm not even feigning ignorance. I am willfully going to remain ignorant, because I think the more that you talk about it and the less that I know about it is a perfect breeding ground for just asshole comedy, and I'm gonna stick by that. That's the hill I'm gonna die on. So don't get bummed out. Just roll with it. It'll be our ongoing bit. Let's see. Okay. Blue Jay of Evil says, do you like death metal? If so, check out God the Throne, Bloody Blasphemy is a great album. Is that a newer band? Because I tell you what, at this point, people pretty much know I'm a musician. I just played guitar very poorly for you a few minutes ago. I started playing music when I was 15. Got my first bass at 15. And so much of what I cut my teeth on back in those formative years was a lot of death metal, and the bands that I liked back when I was heavily into that were just a lot of your classics, your Suffocations, your Death. It's starting to come back to me. God, I had so many frickin' albums. And of course, your thrash metal staples, your Testaments and your Metallicas, Megadeth, Slayers, Anthraxes, of course, just basic, like, fucking teenage white guy suburban bullshit. But yeah, there were a lot of really, really heavy bands that I loved. Your Cannibal Corpses, of course. And I know, like, these days, there's so many more, like, divided categories. But back in my day, when I was just starting out, you put corpse being fucked on your album cover. You wrote your name very illegibly in, like, splatter font, and you played very fast, and you recorded very cheaply, and there you were. You're fucking death metal. You put Cookie Monster on the microphone, and it was everything a little burgeoning teenager that was figuring out how to be mad. It's everything they could ever want. And so, yeah, I absolutely have there's a soft spot in my heart for death metal. Absolutely. Do I listen to much of it these days? No, well, not so much. It's now more of a nostalgia trip for me, but I definitely appreciate it and respect many aspects of it, and I'd never shit on death metal. It has its place, and when it's done well, it's done fantastic. So yeah, the band that you mentioned, again, I've been out of the loop, so I can't address the specific band, but I'll use this as an opportunity to check out your recommendation, and then I'll tell you what I think. So let me go down the list here. So, Salicious Shauna says, who you going to try to get for the third Transsexuals? Okay, so you're out of left field. Okay, well, let me take an opportunity to... Hold on, let me check the time. 23 minutes in? Okay, we're doing good. Let me take an opportunity to mention what Shanna's talking about. I am the director, producer, writer, and everything else of a series of DVDs called transsexuals. It's a pun. It's transsexuals, but with a 6 in it. And the whole gimmick is that it's 6 trannies in a room doing porn. Basically, it's just porn. It's a porn DVD. And we got through 1 and 2, and I'd like to make a 3rd one completely independent of the companies that had helped me out for the last 2 efforts. Make it a 100% Dead Girl Productions. That's my production company. And without the other company's financial backing, it's kind of tough to put together. So, I put out just recently, a couple days ago, maybe last night, I think it was. I put out a Patreon deal. Okay, and the goal is like about $7,000, because to get 6 models into a room at a good shooting location and have everybody, you got to fly everybody in. It gets pricey. It gets pricey. So I put together this Patreon. You go to patreon.com/Jamie French. That's it. And donate. You just donate. And then once we meet the goal, I can start hitting up the models. The thing is, I have people in mind. I absolutely have people in mind that I want to hit up, but I don't want to jump the gun. I don't want to hit people up until I have their fee in hand, because that's what this is a business. This is, what you see on screen is a fantasy, but behind the scenes, the money talks. And I don't want to approach anybody and jump the gun and say, hey, would you like to be in this DVD? Oh, yeah, I'd love to. How much does it pay? Well, it pays X amount. Are you paying for travel? Well, yes, I'm paying for travel. Where are we going to stay? Well, I got a hotel picked out for you. And everything sounds honky-dory. And then they agreed to it. And then I have to say, but I don't have the money yet. Well, nobody's going to fucking, that's no bueno. Nobody wants that, because then it just sounds like you're an asshole talking out your ass. Well, that's weird and redundant. But you just sound like you sound unprofessional. No, you approach the models when you have cash in hand and you can make things happen, which is why I put together this Patreon account. Again, it's patreon.com/Jamie French. Donate whatever you want. Donate whatever you want. We're just trying to get to $7,000, and I think we can do it. I know it sounds like a big number, but if everybody chips in a little bit, like I got almost 50,000 followers on the Twitter account just from my adult account. You say, well, if everybody there fucking gave $1 in, a week's time, we could fund the next 3 or 4 videos. And of course, that's unrealistic. That's not what's going to happen. But given enough time, given a few months, and if we keep pressing it and we keep retweeting and sharing, and it'll be fine. I think we'll hit the goal. So yeah, to answer your question, I do have people in mind. I will not name them. But once the money's in hand, I can start putting feelers out and start announcing talent for the next Transsexuals 3. So I hope that answers your question. It makes sense. So let me keep going down the list here. And then soon, I'd say in about 5 to 10 minutes, we're going to get to the emails and start answering some of those people, and the burner line where people have questions there. We'll answer all of you. Let's see here. Let's see. Where do we leave off? Oh, okay. So, Salacious Shauna says, I'm not big on music. Ha. Yeah, you fucking liar. You ain't got to lie to make friends. Let's see here. Brent Wendell says, Jonathan Richman, She Cracked, and Pablo Picasso. Check them out on YouTube. Oh, okay. These are song recommendations from a person named Jonathan Richman. Okay, well, I'll definitely check that out. That's great. Blue Jay of Evil says, do you like helicopters? Is that a general, do I like actual helicopters, or is helicopters the name of a band? Hey, and just real quick before he answers that, I gotta say thank you guys. This is actually going. We're killing a lot more time on this episode than last week. So I guess Friday was the good pick. I guess we just had an off night last week. This is going great. Very little cringeworthy dead air. So thank you for hitting us up or hitting. I don't know why I keep talking about this show in the plural. Thank you for hitting me up. If by chance Orion stops by in the next 30 minutes, there's always a possibility. He's very much like Kramer that way. He'll just barge in. Then I'll start using plurals. But thank you guys for joining me this evening. Really appreciate it. This show's nothing without you. So thanks. I think a perfect time to raise a thimble and take a shot down. Again, I'm going to light a cigarette after this. Smoke them if you got them. Join me in a little bit debauchery. And in this day and age, smoking a cigarette is considered debauchery. Sorry if any of those drinking sounds scorched your ears. I really do apologize. I have misophonia. Do you know what that is? Where certain sounds not only annoy you, but kind of break your brain, and you want to punch through like a wall or somebody's jaw. It's usually it's like a weird frequency thing. It's the sound of people chewing or clicking gum, or even when somebody's talking to you and their mouth is dry and the way their mouth clicks, those tiny little weird sounds and frequencies not only bug you, but they enrage you, like in a way that is completely unacceptable. It's a broken brain problem. I have that. And so if when I was drinking on the microphone and that fucked you up a little bit, I totally get it, and I totally apologize. Okay, we're going to read a few more from the chat room, and I will, from time to time, check back into the chat room. I don't want you guys to ever think that I'm ignoring you, but we do got to get to some of these emails and these texts that I have. So let me read just a couple more. You know what, Blue Jay of Evil, I have the sneaky suspicion that we are coming from really, really separate worlds. I feel there's a kind of a chasm in our shared knowledge, because you're asking me what I think of people who I've never heard of. Case in point, you say, Blue Jay of Evil, you say, what's your opinion of Augusto Pinochet? Oh, Pinochet. Oh, well, I don't, again, forgive my ignorance, but I have not paid enough attention to that specific kind of branch of world affairs to where I even know really what the guy's about. So I'm sorry for that. I'm not a very politically minded person. I'm more general humanistic. I'm more concerned with the humanities and not the specific ways that folks interact on a political level. I hope that makes sense. That's just not the way my thought process goes. I'm more concerned with, well, I have nihilistic tendencies. Let's put it that way. I have nihilistic tendencies, and so I go for the grand overall picture, which is none of this matters. Life is misery, and you get your kicks in for the 70 years that you got. You know, I think with a very broad brush, unless it comes to the specific things that that I'm interested in that I use to kill time until I fall into a grave. So I can tell you all kinds of shit about the ins and outs of running a production studio. I could tell you all kinds of ins and outs of being a bass player. I could wow your brain with certain pop culture knowledge. There's, but those are all, I'm an expert at the few things that I've picked out in my life that distract me from today to the graveyard. When it comes to world politics or how nations are run, or just all the things that you seem to want to tease out of me, I'm sorry, I gotta claim a big ball of ignorance on my part. And no offense, I love to answer your question. Again, this is an opportunity for me to do a little bit of research, and again, another thing that I can hopefully address on a future podcast, which we absolutely will. Again, we depend on you and your questions to make this thing work. So, I'm not trying to fuck you off or anything. It's just I'm going to have to take some time and read a book or two. So let me skip on to another thing. Sorry. Let's see here. Let's see. What was the Pinochet question? Oh, okay. Oh, we're getting down there. And we're going to really have to get to these emails soon. So we got Blue Jay of Evil says Sophony is that what it's called? I have that too. Yeah, it's not misophonia, it's misophonia. The phonia part is the thing, like hearing, like headphones, phone. It's I don't know if the root word is, it's probably Greek, probably not Latin, but the phonia part's the thing. That's the ear. Misophonia, as relating to sound. But yeah, that's what it's called. And if you have that too, brother, I know you're fucking, man, I know your hassle. I know your strife. I get it. Let's see. Brindle, I don't know where I'm getting that. Brett Wendell. I mixed the two words. Brindle fly. Sorry. Brett Wendell says, I think that hooch is going to eat a hole in that plastic cup. You're probably not wrong. So I'm going to use it for all it's worth. About to take a shot in a second before I get to the emails. I encourage anybody that's drinking to join me. And again, smoke them if you got them. Give me a second. There you go, kids. Smoke up, puts air in your chest. All right, so, okay, so I got Blue Jay of Evil saying, hashtag Pinochet did nothing wrong. Again, know nothing about it, can't address it, don't know what that means, but now it's on the show. Let's see. Blue Jay of Evil says, are you a fan of Anton LaVey? A little bit. Como si, como sa. I get the general, like, precept of Satanism, but I'm always suspicious and kind of leery of people that make a big production out of their worldview. You can do, it's just like Christianity or any other official religion. The Christians say, well, without, like, you have to follow all the precepts and dogma in order to be a good person. But no, you don't. You can just be a good person and not make a big fucking production out of it. And then Anton LaVey says, well, it's all about being selfish and treating yourself as a god metaphorically, and life is about attaining pleasure, and then he fucking puts a black church together, wears too much eyeliner, a lot of red lipstick, and rock band t-shirts going around. Why? Just live your fucking life. You can do all that stuff without the goddamn big production. It's too distracting. The reason why I'm leery about it is because it's escapism. And I've never been one for escapism. The world is too big and too vast and too full of questions and curiosities. Why would you need to be distracted by pageantry? You know, you can just go out and live your life and just be. And if you have a curious mind, your life is going to be interesting from the day you're born till the fucking gravestone. And you don't need to make a big fucking production out of it. That's what I think of Anton LaVey. I think the guy's on the right track, but why the pomp and circumstance? You know? Why the big to-do? Just fucking live your life, you know? We all basically do that anyway. You gotta fucking, with the scary music and the pipe organs and the black painted inside church that they bought on fucking discount because somebody fucking burned it down, and so they got it on a cheap, and you make a big... fuck all that. And he's also... I mean, Anton LaVey goes way back. It was fucking... his church was in San Francisco, so I also don't trust... Again, more pomp and circumstance. It's fucking an offshoot of hippie culture, kind of. And it's just too much fashion and not enough shutting the fuck up and living a good life, you know? So, Anton LaVey, again, como si, como sa. So that's my thoughts on the LaVey. Let's see here. Some more comments about Pinochet, which, again, I can't address. Again, Blue Jay of Evil says, LaVey was arguably the greatest troll of the 20th century. You're making my point. You're making my point. Life is so much... It's so short, and it's so important that you have to kind of have to like examine yourself if trolling is something that you give a shit about. It may mean that your brain ain't all the way there by way of two things. Either you're very young, which I have no idea how old you are, but if you're in your late teens or even early teens to about your mid-20s, and you're saying that stuff, well, then that totally makes sense. You're still dealing with hormones and growth and figuring yourself out emotionally, you know, and there's and aggressiveness and anger, and they bring such an immediate, like, dopamine rush. Of course, you would think that trolling is a thing that needs to be addressed, emulated, or remarked upon. But when you get to be my age, you just don't give a shit anymore, man. There's too much going on. You know, if you've made it far enough to where you have to be an adult that's responsible for your behavior in a larger societal kind of context, shit like trolling and conspiracy theories and it just doesn't matter anymore. There's more important shit to do. Go listen to Billy Joel's Angry Young Man. You look that up and listen to that song, read the lyrics, and go, oh, okay, that was all said very succinctly. I'm just a garbage person until I hit my 30s. And that's basically what it's going to be. Hey, I was a fucking rebellious, cantankerous, kind of curmudgeon-y jerk. What I was very, what's the word? I always played devil's advocate, always tried to get a rise out of people, thought I knew everything. I was that kind of person in my early to mid-20s, and then that shit starts to fall away, and you don't give a shit about trolling or anything anymore. You know, what's the word? There's a word that starts with a C, and for some reason I can't think of it. Well, I know exactly the reason I can't think about it. I can't remember it because of this. Contrarian. That's the word. A lot of C words that relate to garbage people. I was very much a contrarian, and trolling and stuff like that meant something to me when I was 20. But you'll grow out of that. You'll grow out of that. I don't give a fuck about whether or not Anton LaVey was a troll. Why? Why would it matter at the end of the day? Oh, he showed people that were obviously wrong. He wins? No, fuck the whole lot of them. Fuck the whole lot of them. There's shit to do. There's things to be done. Dreams to fucking chase. Fuck them. I feel like I have really ran that into the ground. So here's what we're going to do next. And I will, you notice I'm not looking over at the chat room. I will look at the chat room. Sorry if that busted your ears. I will look at the chat room in just a second, but we do have to get to some of these emails. We are now officially 44 minutes in, so we got about 15 minutes to kill. And so let me knock these out right away. We got an email from Evan Gregory. Let's see. It says, "Hi, it's me again. I saw the blah, 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 blah." This is just a person that says that they saw my request for emails. Let's get to the questions that they have. Evan asked, number one, I had a good time at the photo session that I asked your advice about. Okay, so I think this might have been a reference to the first Ask a Tranny show that we did. And this person emailed me and asked about how to go about shooting their first kind of BDSM scene. And we answered. It was me and Stephanie Special, by way of phone, answered Evan's question. And so to get to skip to the end of it, I had a good time at the photo session that I asked your advice for in the Ask a Tranny. Please pass my thanks on to Stephanie. Her advice really helped. I've been asked back to do another photo session. I have half an hour from the end of the shoot to the start of band rehearsal. My question is, have you or Orion ever had issues with things overlapping from your life and your music? Oh, okay. So that was a long way to say this. Do me and my co-host ever have scheduling problems? Well, yeah. Yeah, it's part of being a grown-up. Figuring out how to get shit done in a timely manner can often present challenges. But at that point, if that does happen to you, it's all about priorities. You know, what means the most to you? What can you put off? And what absolutely needs to be done right now? Where can you fudge it a little bit? Where can you make a little room? Because if you ever find yourself in a position where you need to make a little room, well, then that's it. That's where you know, your success or failure is on your shoulders. So you have to make an executive decision and say, even though I might sound like an asshole, this project and these people are priority. And this other thing that I got to do, maybe fuck them a little bit. Maybe tell them next week or tomorrow. So specific example, I have a shoot on Monday. I got to make some porn on Monday. I also have the podcast to do on Monday. The shoot is going to overlap the podcast. Podcast is going to happen at 8, and I got to shoot at about 7. Shoots go long. So which one do I do? Do I do the podcast or do I do the shoot? Who do I tell to fuck off? Well, there's a lot more planning involved and a lot more money on the line that goes with the shoot. So that takes priority. And I tell Orion simply, hey, dude, got to shoot. It's going to run into our podcast. Let's meet up tomorrow or the next day. He said, well, yeah, I'm not going to be available till Friday. I say, well, then let's do Friday. And I'll go, okay, well, I can do Friday. And you make a little concession. And it might suck, you know, it might not be the way you want the world to work, but you fucking go on Friday. And you do your shoot now. You know, it's all about prioritizing. Like, I got, my best friend is he's my co-host, and he's my drummer in my band. So I got a little more leeway with him, you know? So it's strategy. I know I know I have a little bit more ebb and flow with my band, so or Orion, but maybe not so much with a shoot that needs to happen on Monday. It's easy. It's not that big a deal, and that does happen often. It does. It just does. the more involved you are with living an interesting life, the more chaotic shit gets. And you have to be prepared for it. And the only way you can be prepared for it is by making a lot of mistakes and not letting those mistakes discourage you, but to learn from those mistakes and to keep driving forward. And you're going to keep running into scheduling conflicts, and that's just part and parcel of the business of show. So the second question is, I just had my first birthday since coming out to my family. So this is a trans person we're talking to. And they got me birthday cards for my true, right, correct gender. I'm a woman now. I was so relieved that they're accepting me for me. What was your first birthday like after you came out? Well, I have a very different story, and I've talked about it on previous podcasts. I've always been weird to my family, and my family's weird. And it might have been a little contentious in my teens, but I'm the eldest. I'm the kid that my parents practiced on. And it got better for all my siblings once they got through the hassle that was me. But I've never been fucked with or never even thought about how my birthday would be different once I came out. My birthday has always been my birthday. And sometimes I spend it with my family, and sometimes it's just tacos and beer. But when it is with my family, there's been zero changes. We all get together, we drink, we joke with each other. We're a funny family together. We like spending time with each other, and nothing about my gender has ever changed that. So I'm sorry, my family's fucking rocks. They just fucking rock. So yeah, nothing has changed. No matter where I was in my life, I have a very loving family, and I appreciate them for that. I know not everybody has that, especially trans folks. I know there's a lot of really bad horror stories out there, but my family's fucking great. And so I hope that answers your question. Number 3, this is the last of the emails, and we're going to have to start to wrap this up. I might not even have time to get to the phone line. I will try. Says, the third question is, I run a exotic bass preamp. This is a musician question, speaking to me as a bass player, a fellow bass player. I run an exotic bass preamp pedal plus a compressor to my amp. My bass is an Ibanez, R-Core ABGB. Do you run any effects between your bass to your amp? Largely in live settings, no. No. I have a, for live application, I play through a Fender Working Man bass with a Schecter 5-string, and I keep that signal chain tight and clean. Because of the kind of clubs we play around here and the type of music that I play, there's no need. I barely play bass on stage as it is, although I'm primarily a bass player. The kind of band I'm in, all the bass is kind of pre-programmed, or not, but it's pre-played to a click track that we got a band in the box. And so it's my drummer and me usually playing guitar and singing, or piano and singing. And so we leave kind of helper instruments on the live track, bass being one of those. For the few songs that I do play bass live, I just keep that signal chain very clean. And in the studio, I'll resort to, I'll clean it up a little bit with DIY with direct box with a preamp. I use a Sans amp. Or I will run my bass through Universal Audio 610 preamp. And then that's about it. And mostly any like effects or anything is just VST plugins. This all studio stuff springing from the computer. So yeah, I keep a really clean signal chain for my bass playing. So it looks like we're at the 53 minute mark. So I want to start to wrap this up. I'm just going to go ahead and call an audible. And when it comes to the burner line, this thing right here, this is the official burner line, this cheap burner phone. Dawn, I know that you sent in some text, and we're going to save that either for next week's show or for something that we can address on the pre-recorded Monday show. We're going to get to you. We're going to address this, but we want to keep this thing under an hour. I'm so grateful to all of you people that have been providing me with non-stop talking, and that's amazing. That's what we want. So let me look at a few of the last comments here, and then I'll wrap this fucker up, and we'll let you guys go. And thanks for playing along. I mean, I hope you I've had a fucking great time. In fact, I've had such a good time, I'm going to take another shot of the old brown bourbon here. And again, this is like probably the third or fourth time I said it. If you have a drink, make a toast. If you have cigarettes, light them up. Here we go. Hey, a cheers to you. Cheers to the fans. Cheers to the people that are... You guys are basically on the ground floor of this podcast. You're the original crew, as it were. And you guys are going to be in the most as we continue doing this thing. So thanks for joining us. Me. I did it again. Thanks for joining the Approximate Podcast. We really appreciate it. Very much so. So, cheers. All right. All right. Try to do that all off the mic as much as I could. Sorry. Excuse me. A few more questions, and then we really got to wrap this up because we're coming on the hour mark. Let's see. So, Blue Jay of Evil is really, really throwing their hat into the ring this evening. Let's see. Says, trolling in and of itself isn't the goal. It's a method further of global discussions. Trolling rhetoric. You've heard what I had to say about trolling. Let's see. Glad to hear your family care for you. This is Blue Jay of Evil. The world needs more stable, loving families. There's enough strife in the world as it is without our own kin at war with each other. Absolutely. Absolutely. You're completely right there. And doesn't it seem obvious? Doesn't it seem like why should you even have to say, why should a sentence like that even exist, you know? It's very sad. It's very sad that even has to be said. But hopefully in the future, and of course it will be in the future, things will smooth out. But I'm very grateful for my family, and you're right to point that out. I'm very fortunate, and you know, and if you ever run into someone that has a shitty family, do your very best to be their friend, because they need it the most. You know, folks that are in a bad position, sorry, saying that, folks that are in a bad position with their family, they need your help the most. Go out and pat them on the back, make a friend, get involved, because a strong family structure is monumentally important. And I don't know, you don't know it unless you got it. And the people that don't got it don't realize how fucked they are. So become family to the familyless. You know, if you get to do any kind of good in this world, that's a thing that I would suggest you do. Let's see. We're going to wrap this up here. Brett Wendell says cheers. Yes, cheers. I think we're just about ready to shut this fucker down. It's 58 minutes and 25 seconds. So we got a minute to let you all go. I'm going to end on a song. tranny. Ask a tranny. Thank you, guys. Good night. All right. Thank you so much. We'll see y'all later. No plugs. Fuck it.